friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the greatest podcast that's ever happened ever in the world, and the universe even. This is episode 69, nice, and you are going to be joining us for a discussion all about the latest Red Hot Chili Peppers album, Unlimited Love. This is the third time that we've done a deep dive on an album. We've done Crawler by Idols, Prioritize Pleasure by Self-Esteem, and now the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is sure to be a lovely discussion. I can't do it on my own, of course. I am your host, George, and I am joined by my co-host, Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone. How are you doing, George, today?
Hi. Fantastic, thank you. I'm very good. I am all good. It's a lovely day. I'm filled with love. Unlimited love is here. And I am happy. How are you?
I'm happy too. I see you. I feel unlimited love for you. Yeah. Sorry.
That's good.
Yeah, it's all good. All is good. Excited to talk about this album, finally. A new release from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, in some ways you might consider it their first release since 2006. And in other ways that's not true, obviously, but anyway. But we're not going to talk about that yet. We've got our usual culture catch-up and MyTube to go through first.
This is culture catch-up time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture catch-up time.
So let's start with culture catch-up. We'll have a little discussion about the things we've been watching and listening to, etc., over the past week. And it's your turn to start, Alex.
Yeah. Okay. So today I've got only a couple of things to talk about. I watched this film this week with Mila Kunis, which is an actor that is very good. I really like her, and I think she's extremely talented. But we don't see her enough of her, I don't think, or the things that she chooses to. The films that she chooses never seem to be the ones that are popular or with the most maybe publicity, and so I watched this film that I saw the trailer when it came out, but then I hadn't seen anything since, and it just popped up again on one of the streaming services, and I watched it, and it's 2020 film called 4 Good Days. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not ever heard of the film 4 Good Days.
Which is crazy because it stars Mila Kunis, Glenn Close, and Stephen Root, which, you know, are no small actors, especially Glenn Close and Mila Kunis. So
no, definitely not.
It's just a film that hasn't had much exposure, and it's a film based on a 2016 Washington Post article called "How's Amanda: A Story of Truth, Lies, and an American Addiction," and it talks about Molly. Played by Mila Kunis, who she suffers from addiction, and her journey to try to end her addiction, and her relationship with her mother, and the difficulties to get clean, and how these can affect your family. So from the start, you you find out that this is not the first time that she tries to get clean. This is not the first time that she has turned up to her mother's house, and the reaction that her mother has when she sees her without teeth and in really bad condition is maybe a reaction that you would judge, because she kind of pushes her away. But then when you realize that this is not the first time that she's trying to get clean, you kind of not really sure how to feel. And so this film, it kind of shows you the difficulties to live with somebody with addiction and trying to help them to get clean and to change their lives, but also the difficulties on all sides. Mila Kunis is really good in it. She portrays her, a person with addiction really well. Glenn Close, of course, is amazing, and she's a great actor. The problem that I have with the film is just it concentrates a lot throughout the film about the struggles, Molly's struggles to get clean, and her mother's struggles to trust her and to keep her clean and keep her away from her old life, and it just builds up, and then. But then at the end, when she turns a page, Molly, it ends. So instead of concentrating also on the recovery side, where she has recovered and she's better, it shows the struggle, and the recovery is just 2 minutes, and you see Molly as turned her life around and not be an addict anymore, or not struggling anymore. And I think maybe sometimes with these films we need to also concentrate on the light at the end of the tunnel, how not just on the struggle, but also at the end there is hope that you can become better. And it would have been nice to have that bit as well. It's a very short film. It's only an hour and 40 minutes, so they could have added 10 minutes to show Molly as somebody that is back at her best. But it's an interesting film. She's addicted because when she was younger, she got prescribed. She hurt her ankle or her knee, and she got prescribed Oxycontin, which I think is an opiate. So in America, there's a massive drug use of like over-the-counter drugs or like prescription drugs, which then lead you to addiction to other drugs like heroin, methamphetamine, crack. And I think it's good because it shows you find out why she's addicted, and it was from a prescription drug that then stopped being prescribed. And there's a big problem in America. I wish it would have been a little bit more would have been a little bit more emphasis on that, and a little bit more emphasis on her recovery. But it's an okay film. Unfortunately, it's nobody knows about it, or at least it doesn't seem like many people know about it. But it's okay, and Mila Kunis is good, and Glenn Close, of course. And then I've got a band recommendation. Nice. I've listened. This band called Ghum, Ghum, and they are a London-based post-punk band formed in 2016.
Ooh.
And they are
exciting.
Yeah, and they are formed by all female ensemble, or human with breasts or whatever, not male ensemble. Could I say that? They're formed by not a male ensemble. Laura Guerrero, Laura as vocals, Marina MJ as on bass, Jojo Core in guitar, and Vicky Ann in drums. And Marina placed an advert on Gumtree seeking bandmates, and that's why they're called Ghum with an H.
Nice.
And they haven't released an album. They're going to release an album June 2022 called Bitter. But I listened to their EP called The Coldest Fire, released in 2019, and they are fun. They're really good. I really liked listening to them. They're really good driving music. They give you some energy, and since you've recommended a lot of post-punk bands, but male, it's nice to kind of like listen to a different genre, gender post-punk, and it's quite refreshing, and I like it, and I think they're good, and maybe I think you might like them.
Yeah, they sound good. I'll definitely be checking them out. And good to know that they're putting an album out soon, as I do like a good album.
Yeah.
Although, don't forget about Wet Leg when you want when you're looking for female fronted and made up post-punk bands.
Yeah, the problem with Wet Leg is just as there are not enough songs.
Well, they put out their debut album today, so
that's
problem is solved.
See, problem solved. That's fantastic, because I have listened to them, but they kind of stop, and then Spotify just sends me to other things in the abyss, and then
yeah.
So I'm excited. Wow, I'm gonna listen to them.
Yeah,
and that's it. My short culture catch up.
Lovely stuff. I liked it. I don't think I'll watch 4 Good Days, but I'll definitely have a listen to Ghum. So thank you for that recommendation. Yeah. And not that 4 Good Days sounds bad. I just like addiction movies don't tend to be my my bag.
I like them when they. Have you seen
the one with Steve?
Sorry.
Steve Carell and Timothée Chalamet. Have you seen that one?
No, I would like to watch it.
Beautiful Boy. Yeah, that looks interesting. But they just, I don't know, they seem to, they're not necessarily always true, but my perception of them is that it's sort of wallowing in misery a little bit, and I don't really need that all the time.
I like them when there is a message behind them, especially when they're in the States, and, a lot of people are addicted to drugs.
Well, yeah, I mean, the opiate epidemic is a big problem, isn't it? The
massive.
Opioid crisis, etc.
Yeah. So. And yeah. What about you?
Okay.
What have you been doing?
Well, what about me? I've got a handful of movies to go through quickly. Starting with the 2021 British drama movie Boiling Point.
Ooh,
have you heard of this?
No.
This is a film that stars Stephen Graham, Vanette Robinson, Ray Panthaki, and Hannah Walters. But really, is very much centred around Stephen Graham, who is an actor that I have a lot of time for. I really like Stephen Graham. If you can't bring him to mind, you would definitely recognise him if you saw him, because he's one of those actors that has been in everything from the BBC's Line of Duty to Hollywood's Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And he often plays, he's a bit of a character actor and often plays smaller parts in things, but when he gets an opportunity to be the star of something, it's always worth checking out, I tend to find.
Oh, yeah.
So in this movie, he plays Andy Jones, who's the head chef of Jones and Sons, an upmarket restaurant in London. And the film opens with him arriving for an evening service at work, where he discovers there is a health and safety inspector on site, ready to downgrade his perfect 5-star rating to a 3-star rating due to his poor paperwork. Some of the prep hasn't been done properly, and his staff are in something of a disarray. And he discovers quite quickly as well that his celebrity chef mentor, Alistair Syke, played by Jason Fleming, is booked in for that evening's service, and he did not realise it. And we then spend the rest of the movie seeing the service play out, wherein passive aggressiveness from his mentor, there's a racist family, there's a peanut allergy that we need to contend with, there are Instagram influencers, we see all kinds of people come and go over the course of the evening, and the movie's called Boiling Point. All of these different things pile on the pressure until the boiling point is reached. The thing about this movie that makes it interesting, I suppose, and I always kind of watch films when I find out this is true of them, because I always find it like an interesting experiment, is that the movie takes place entirely in real time. and is one continuous unbroken shot, and not faked in the way that some movies will do, like 4 continuous shots and then kind of stitch them together. This truly was one single continuous shot played live, and then filmed. I believe they intended to do it 6 times or something over the course of a week, and due to the COVID pandemic, production was shut down early, so they only got like 3 goes in the bag, and I think it was the second take that ended up as the film. And it's really tense and really stressful experience to watch it, as I imagine working in a professional restaurant would be, as things are just going wrong and people are yelling at each other, and it all kind of gets out of hand, and you see every single problem is etched onto Stephen Graham's face as he tries to deal with the evening, and he clearly, you can tell he's got problems going on at home, he's got problems going on in the restaurant, and I really enjoyed this movie. I liked it a lot. It's more than just a gimmicky real-time film. I think there's like good character work going on in it as well, and interesting stuff there, and it was good. It was good. It had some BAFTA nominations, so
nice.
It did get some recommendation, and it turned up on Netflix in the UK recently, which is why I watched it. So if you have an opportunity to check it out, I would definitely recommend Boiling Point.
Definitely, I love those kind of things. The kitchen, nerve-wracking.
Yeah, exactly. Another nerve-wracking movie is one I saw earlier this week at a preview screening, because it's not out until April the 15th in the UK, so it will probably be, by the time people hear this, it should be out in cinemas and you can go and see it. And it is the movie Operation Mincemeat.
Okay.
Which is directed by John Madden and stars Colin Firth, Kelly MacDonald, Matthew McFadden, Penelope Wilton, Johnny Flynn, and Jason Isaacs, which is quite the cast. And it's a World War II movie, and I often tend not to watch World War II movies because I feel like I've seen all of the World War II movies a little bit. But I remember seeing the trailer for this, and the story of it is really interesting. I'll explain that in a minute. And the cast really sold me. I was like, Colin Firth, Matthew McFadden, Penelope Wilton, Kelly MacDonald, Jason Isaacs, Johnny Flynn to a lesser extent, but like that's quite the cast. And basically, it takes place in, I think it's 1940. It tells the true story of, it might be slightly later than that, I'm not sure exactly, but it's sometime during the war. It tells the true story of Operation Mincemeat, which is during a pivotal moment during World War II. The UK agreed with America to land troops in Sicily to invade Europe and try and, win World War II, etc. And they were basically, if they did that, the Nazis were assuming that they were going to do that. And so they needed to convince the Nazis that they were actually going to land in Greece, and that basically the spy arm of the British government, called the 20 Committee, set out to work out how to convince the Nazi regime that they were going to send troops to Greece to invade Greece, so that the Nazis would move their troops from the Sicilian coasts to Greece to allow them to, with minimal defences, take Sicily, if that makes sense. So the plan that they come up with, which is kind of... the plan, because I think they'd agreed with the American government that they were going to invade Sicily, so it was like they had to invade Sicily. 1943 it took place, the Allied invasion of Sicily. So they had to go and invade Sicily, so they were trying to convince the Nazis that Greece was the real target. The plan they came up with, which was a real plan, this really happened, was that they would take a dead body, dress it up like a British soldier, captain, high-ranking British soldier, handcuff a briefcase to its arm and put inside the briefcase falsified documents hinting at an Allied invasion of Greece. So that was their plan that they came up with. So we watch the it follows mainly Colin Firth's character, who is Ewan Montague. Colin Firth plays Ewan Montague, and Matthew McFadden plays Charles Chumley, I think you pronounce his name. And they're the two men who kind of set out to make this plan work. Jason Isaacs plays someone who basically is like in charge of British intelligence, briefing Winston Churchill on the plan, and he thinks it's a terrible plan, doesn't want it to happen, but Winston Churchill decides it's strange enough to potentially work, so gives it the go-ahead. So they kind of are fighting against the odds to try and make it work, and they have to find a dead body, and they have to work out how to falsify all this stuff, etc., etc. And it's pretty interesting. Again, I don't know how accurate it is to reality because I haven't read the book it's based on and stuff, but the story it tells is really is interesting. And the only real... There's two issues with it. One, it creates this strange romance between Colin Firth, Ewan Montague, and Kelly MacDonald's Jean Leslie, who's a woman who kind of helps write the backstory to this kind of fictional general that they're inventing. And I don't know if that romance existed in real life, but it sort of takes a lot of focus of the movie. And it is quite a long film. It doesn't necessarily need to be there. And the second thing is Johnny Flynn is in this film playing Ian Fleming, who was involved in this mission in real life. But of course, Ian Fleming's far more well known for going on to write James Bond and invent the character of James Bond. And so everyone else is kind of acting characters, whereas Johnny Flynn is doing an almost caricature of Ian Fleming, which is weird. And there's lots of scenes in the movie where he's kind of hanging around at the edge of the scene, obviously looking at things being like, this is an interesting idea for a spy. Like there's a bit where they go and get some gadgets off someone and he picks up a watch that has like a buzzsaw hidden inside it and he's looking at it like, oh wow, it's an interesting idea. And there's a bit where, like, there's bits where he's writing on typewriters, and there's a whole thing to do with authors and things. And every general in the movie has written a book. And there's a bit where Matthew McFadyen has a big breakdown about the fact that everyone's written a book and why is everyone writing books, which is weird. But then the plan sort of goes to play, and it kind of ends up. It works against all the odds, and it's quite tense at times seeing how all the times it almost falls apart because it's such a kind of a precarious idea and a precarious plan that could easily all fall apart, and it kind of all ends up working, and it ends up being instrumental in allowing this invasion to happen. And it's a way far better movie than I expected it to be, because like I said, I don't tend not to be really interested in World War II films, but in terms of like the history of an interesting little bit of spy work that went on in the past, it's interesting to learn about it. And all the actors in it are really good, in particular Colin Firth and Matthew McFadyen, and Kelly MacDonald, who I really like. Kelly MacDonald when she turns up in stuff. And yeah, I liked Operation Mincemeat, and I would recommend that people watch it. It's pretty good film. Yeah. And then I watched a film that you watched a couple of weeks ago, and I decided to watch The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yeah.
Well, my homework at the moment, coming up on our next top 5 episode, will be to watch Tick, Tick, Boom, the Andrew Garfield film. And I sat down last night and I was like, I'll watch an Andrew Garfield movie. And I decided to save Tick, Tick, Boom so it's a bit fresher in my mind for the next time we discuss that. So I watched The Eyes of Tammy Faye instead, which I won't go into too much detail because you've kind of talked about it on another episode, but it tells the story of Tammy Faye Baker and Jim Baker, two a married couple who are televangelists in America, who real-life people, based on a documentary called The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and they were basically... They ran, what's it called, Praise the Lord satellite network, where they were asking people to asking people to donate them money, basically on the idea that the more money you give to them, the more that God will love you. Yeah. And then they basically just used that money to live very rich, extravagant lifestyles. And he ended up being sent to prison for it, I guess. Yeah. Jessica Chastain won an Oscar for portraying Tammy Faye, and she is very good in this movie, and as much as she is unrecognisable as Jessica Chastain and completely falls into the character of Tammy Faye Baker. And it's a decently entertaining movie that's too long, I think. It's like 2 hours and 8 minutes long or something.
It's quite long, yeah.
And I guess I think I think I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. It has good things about it, but I feel like it's stuck between. It doesn't really tell the story of the downfall of Tammy Faye and Jim very well. I didn't quite understand how they came to. And maybe it's assuming that if the audience is American, they already know how those two kind of.
Yeah, maybe.
No, because that's the story of the movie, surely. But like, I ended up not really being sure about what he'd done wrong exactly beyond quite clearly asking people for money. But if he's asking people for money and then spending it on, like, people are giving him the money of their own free will, was he claiming he was going to spend it on charity and didn't spend it on charity? Instead, he spent it on himself. Like, the movie doesn't quite tell that story in a way that is easy to follow. Because it's more interested in Tammy Faye, who... Whenever you read reviews of this film, Tammy Faye is described as being like, you know, she was very unusual for being an ally to LGBTQ plus people and was always welcoming of all people. And there's a couple of, there's a scene at a party where they're sat around a dinner table where Vincent D'Onofrio's character, who is another very famous televangelist by the name of Jerry Falwell, is talking about the homosexual agenda and how the Republicans have to fight back against this. And Tammy Faye kind of speaks up against him and says, well, that's their America as well. And then there's another scene later on where she interviews a man who has AIDS, which obviously in the 80s there was a lot of stigma around that. And she kind of talks about how much she loves him, and he's on a satellite link. But if she was with him, she'd put her arms around him and, is welcoming and loving of everyone, which is lovely. And, well done, Tammy Faye Baker, for having that view. But I came away from the film feeling like, what was interesting about Tammy Faye Baker, beyond the fact that she liked to wear a lot of makeup and was more liberal than you might expect from a televangelist in the 80s in America?
Probably
Did she do anything?
Her perseverance.
But perseverance against what? She didn't fight for anyone. She didn't, change the world in any way. I got the impression that she just was happy that she was fine with the fact that there were people in the world who had different sexual orientations to herself, which is fine. I also agree with that, but I don't have a movie about me. What did she persevere against? Well, I don't get it.
No, I think it was the perseverance from when she was young to her religion, and the fact that she came from a very poor family, religious family. It's an interesting story in the sense of the kind of person that she is, where she comes from, and where she got to, with the amount of maybe simplicity. Maybe she's kind of a simple person that believed in the love for everyone in an atmosphere in a place where there wasn't any love for anyone. I think she's an interesting character to look at, just because of what kind of life she had.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel the same way. I don't know. I don't feel the same way. I felt like she wasn't interesting. She, you see her very early on as a young woman at college, where she meets Jim Baker, and he's preaching about how we should be allowed to have things, and God doesn't want us to be poor, etc. And she falls from there and then. Yeah. And that sort of sets out the character that she has for the rest of the movie. She doesn't evolve past that, I don't think. So, I don't know. The performance from Jessica Chastain's really good. Andrew Garfield's really good as well. And maybe if it was an hour and a half long, I'd feel differently. But at 2 hours and 10 minutes, I didn't feel like it justified its length. By the time it ended, I was a bit like, it was a well-made movie, but the story just didn't. There wasn't enough there wasn't enough to the story to interest me, I felt like, by the end. So, yeah. But, I'm glad to have watched it to see, such a good performance from Jessica Chastain. And I'm glad that she's won an Oscar, I guess, if that's an important thing. Yeah. So that's, other than that, I watched the second episode of Moon Knight, and it's very good.
I haven't watched that yet.
I look forward to seeing it. It's good. I look forward to watching the third episode when that comes out. And, good. That's Culture Catch Up.
Nice.
Yeah. shall we do a little bit of MyTube?
Yes, please. MyTube.
Cool. I have something to show you.
Hopefully what you're going to show me today is not as crazy as last week because I couldn't even comment on it. Huh? What? Who? Where? Who's this? It's a place.
Well, interestingly, it's another Apple TV thing.
Oh, good.
So, see what you think of this.
So, George has sent me another Apple TV Plus official sneak peek, Prehistoric Planet.
Yeah.
Eyes ready.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Dawn on
Oh.
the shore of the ancient
David Attenborough.
And
Oh,
hundreds of
turtles.
tiny turtle hatchlings are on
Yeah.
Oh, there are lots of turtles hatchlings.
instinctively
And David Attenborough
race towards the
is
safety of the
talking,
water.
narrating. And they go instinctively in the water. And then suddenly a bird is going to come and eat it. What?
By a hunter.
They've been spotted by a hunter. That's not a normal hunter. There's a out of... What? Is that a dinosaur? What? And the dinosaurs are just squished a young T-Rex.
Juvenile's feathery coat.
Is David Attenborough doing... What? Is David Attenborough doing a documentary about
He's got
about
instinct,
dinosaurs?
but his
As this T-Rex is trying to kill a little turtle.
inexperience.
But he's inexperienced. And it's fluffy. It's a fluffy T-Rex.
Time.
Yeah.
And it goes away. And he's on a beach. And there's Mama T-Rex.
A full-grown T-Rex is the planet's most powerful predator. But today,
What is this?
he's just being father.
What is this? The T-Rex is being father. Prehistoric Planet with David Attenborough. Oh, wow. Oh,
What do you think of that?
I love David Attenborough. So, but it feels a bit kind of weird that they're doing a documentary about
Well,
dinosaurs.
did you never see Walking with Dinosaurs?
No, I never saw that.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So, I mean, I was obsessed with Walking with Dinosaurs. I think that was on when I was in school. And that was a show the BBC did years ago now that was basically this, like using CGI to make what looks like a natural history documentary about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But if you watch Walking with Dinosaurs now, it looks terrible. 'Cause it's like early 2000s, late 90s CGI.
Yeah.
Whereas this is being made with John Favreau's Lion King technology to try and make photorealistic dinosaurs, and I'm assuming and hoping that they've collaborated with paleontologists to try and create this. I think it's a 5-episode, 1 episode per night kind of event thing where they're gonna. It's a documentary about dinosaurs. I'm very excited.
Interesting. Sounds good. Looks good. I'm a bit like, I do like dinosaurs, but I think, yeah. Like, again, it's like, how true is it?
Well, we can't ever know for sure, can we? But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
exciting to
yeah.
I mean, what I'm hoping is it's like an adaptation of the current theories on how they lived and survived
Yeah.
in the prehistoric world.
I like the tiny fluffy T-Rex, though. It was cool.
Yeah.
Are
it
you
looks well
excited
cool.
about it? You must be so excited.
Yeah, I love dinosaurs. I'm
Yeah, I know.
extremely excited about it. I cannot wait. So yeah, that's my MyTube for today. Little look
Nice.
at Prehistoric Planet. Yeah. Right, shall we have a chat about some music?
Yeah, let's chat about Unlimited Love.
Unlimited Love, the latest album, I believe the 12th studio album from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The first one with what is considered sort of the canonical lineup of Anthony Kiedis, Flea, Chad Smith and John Frusciante since 2006 when they released Stadium Arcadium, because John Frusciante left the band after that.
Yeah.
And they recruited Josh Klinghoffer to be their guitarist for 2 albums, I'm With You in 2011 and The Getaway in 2016. And they announced a couple of years ago with much fanfare that Josh Klinghoffer had left the band and John Frusciante had returned. And they promised a new album and a world tour, etc., etc. And the world tour starts in June, and the album is now here with us. It's 73 minutes long. It's 17 tracks long, and it's interesting. It's exciting to have a new album. What's your history with the Red Hot Chili Peppers as a band, Alex?
Okay, my history with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I like I've said many times, I used to live on MTV, so I think I started listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers when I saw the video of the track Scar Tissue from the 1999 album Californication. Scar Tissue was this amazing video that was on MTV constantly, and it was just the Red Hot Chili Peppers in a car singing, and they were all broken up. They had like bandages everywhere, and so that was my first Red Hot Chili Pepper kind of experience, and Californication was the first album that I listened to, and then I went back, and also at the time All Saints did a cover for Under the Bridge.
Yes, they did.
And that was another thing. I was like, oh, okay, so the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And so I went to listen. Under the Bridge was in Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. And so that was kind of like my start of Red Hot Chili Peppers. And, I listened to them. I stopped listening to them. I carried on listening to them. I'm a John Frusciante kind of... Red Hot Chili. When John Frusciante is there, I much prefer them than when John Frusciante is not there. So I kind of fall in love and fall out of love with them, depending if John Frusciante is in the group. And for the longest time, I thought John Frusciante's name was called Jack Frusciante, because there was this kind of book. There was this book in Italy called Jack Frusciante è uscito dal gruppo, which is Jack Frusciante left the band, of this writer from Bologna, and it was a cult book. It became a film. I loved the book. I loved the film, and he could not use John Frusciante's name because of copyright reasons or something. They couldn't use his name. And so the publicist said he had to call him Jack Frusciante. So for the longest time, and still now, I think of Jack Frusciante, not John Frusciante. But yeah. So
bizarre.
So my relationship started in 1999. And then 2, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Was it 7 years ago?
2016. So
6 years ago. 6 years ago, like a dream that wanting to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers kind of came true when we went to a show in Japan, in a festival in Japan called Fuji Rock. We were all very excited to see Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it was possibly one of the worst experiences of my life.
Wow.
Maybe because I was so excited about them, maybe because I don't know, but they were not good. And so
No, they weren't.
They were not good. The sound was bad, but I think the sound was bad, the energy was low. There were like millions of people on that stage. It was not good. And I kind of went a bit meh on them. And then this is the first album I listened to in a while. Yeah.
Well, this is the first album they've put out since touring The Getaway, which is the one we saw them touring.
What's your relationship with them?
I mean, well, I grew up kind of probably like you, hearing their songs a lot from when Blood Sugar Sex Magic came out in 1991. You know, Under the Bridge, Give It Away, etc. were pretty common songs to hear. And then Californication, I remember hearing that when that song came out, and the singles off that album. And then, as I've spoken about before on here, I didn't really get into music properly until I was about 18. And when I first started getting into music, I think I got in a charity shop, By the Way. So that was the first album of theirs that I listened to and really, really fell in love with, and then started exploring them. And a bit like you, discovered that when John Frusciante's there, big fan of what they're doing. When he's not there, slightly less interested. Although One Hot Minute, the album where Dave Navarro was the guitarist, has some okay stuff on it. But broadly. So they've put out 12 albums in total now, 6 of them with him and 6 of them without him. And I think definitely like the 6 with him, you know, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Mother's Milk, maybe to a lesser degree. I've not listened to that one as much, but Mother's Milk, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Californication, By the Way, Stadium Arcadium, and Unlimited Love are all, to one degree or another, pretty great albums, whereas the ones without him are more mixed. But the stuff they did with Josh Klinghoffer is okay. But like then I kind of really loved them for a long time. A bit like you, Dream Come True, got to see them live at Fuji Rock, and like you, was pretty disappointed with what we got. Again, the sound was really terrible. We could barely hear them from where we were stood, and the energy on the stage didn't seem to be there particularly. And the set list was made up of a lot of songs off the new album at the time, which is not necessarily what you were hoping to hear. Because I think that album's all right. I've got a soft spot for it. But yeah, at festivals, you're sort of expecting them. But I think they've got this reputation for being quite unpredictable live. You'd never know what, like, sometimes they can be absolutely amazing and other times they're just not feeling it for whatever reason. And I think it's part of their, like, they are kind of a jam band, a funk band. They're kind of like, they like to create a feeling on stage as if they are sort of jamming out, and I think sometimes that can result in greatness and sometimes it doesn't quite hit and it results in something a bit more and that was just unfortunate. And it's unfortunate when people pay a lot of money to see them and stuff, that sometimes you're not going to get a great show. But I guess it's part of the thing with them. What do you think about the fact that, like, they're often considered to be a bit of a joke? Or, you know, you hear people really berate them for being terrible. Like, there are people that absolutely can't stand them. Do you think, like, why do you think people feel that way about them? Do you ever feel embarrassed about liking them?
I don't feel embarrassed to liking their music. I thought I think I grew up in Italy. They are really amazingly regarded. So I've never actually been with people that detest them. They're different. I think that's what I in a way admire about them, because they're different and they don't compromise very much. They do their own thing, and I was really disappointed at that festival, and I was like, well, if I want to see a band, I want to see a band that will give me something, and I was upset about that mainly because of my experience with them. But if anybody says, oh, why do you like Red Hot Chili Peppers? I'm just going to, well, because I do. go away. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think they're a joke though. I
that's
think
fair.
they're really good, and they're fun. They're a fun band. They've always been fun,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I like about them.
Yeah, I agree. But there's a very famous quote from Nick Cave, who said in an interview, "I'm forever standing next to the radio and thinking, what the F is this shit?" And the answer is always the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Which is a pretty witty, funny way to phrase it. But I think what I really like is quite recently there was a video of Flea going up on stage and playing with, because Flea is really interesting because I feel like you hear about a lot of musicians not liking the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and like one of my favourite bands of all time, Faith No More, have a big rivalry with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Anthony Kiedis famously can't stand Mike Patton, etc.
Yeah.
But Flea seems to be someone who does have a lot of respect from people in the world of musicians. Like he's in a band, he's formed a band in the past with Tom York from Radiohead, and I struggle to picture Tom York listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And he recently went up on stage and played with Nick Cave, and I remember I saw that and I was like, but Nick Cave, and I looked it up, and Flea in the past has said, if he doesn't like my band, then that's okay. I love his band and I think his music's great, and he's a good musician, and Nick Cave has said, and I just think I kind of have a lot of respect for how, for when I see particularly people like Flea, just seems like a enjoyable, like I don't know, being able to take that criticism from someone like Nick Cave and still go up on stage and play with him and be friends with him is quite emotional. Shows a lot of maturity, I think. So yeah, I don't know, I like them a lot. So that brings us to Unlimited Love. What did you think? Like, what were you expecting going in before you listened to it?
You told me that it was out, and I didn't realize that John Frusciante was back. And I was like, I'm going to hate it. Well, I'm not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that was mine going in, because I didn't read anything about it. You just said, oh, listen to it. And I listened to it, and I was like, and without realizing that John was back.
Oh, so you didn't know he was back in the band then?
No. But then.
When did?
Pretty much after like 30 seconds when Black Summer started playing, I was like, he's back. He's back. I felt emotional. It was really strange. It was just like you could hear he was back.
So apparently what happened was that they had started preparing to record a new album with Josh Klinghoffer after they finished touring The Getaway. And the recording sessions weren't really coming together. The songwriting sessions weren't really working. And Flea and Anthony Kiedis were like, something needs to change. And they started thinking, wouldn't it be nice to include John in this? And apparently John spent, after he left the Fleas in like 2010 or whatever, he spent a decade being pretty isolated, not really talking to any of the rest of the band or anyone really, and making a lot of electronic music and not being involved in rock music at all. But had recently started talking to them again, and had been pictured at basketball games with Flea and stuff, and they'd started being friends again. And Flea suggested to him the idea of rejoining, and supposedly he was sat at home thinking, can I even write rock music anymore? Like, am I capable of that now? And started messing around on a guitar, and the song he wrote that day was Black Summer.
Ah, but you can hear it. You can hear it. He's back.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing how you can have. I also have so much respect for John Frusciante. He was kind of such a tortured soul for so long, with his drug addiction and his substance addiction, and he was so young when he joined the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'm in awe of this man and how he can change the sound of this band and elevate it to a different direction, whilst also compromising to make the band sound like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah,
like I love him. I love John Frusciante. Like I'm a I love him. Yeah. So
That's fair.
when I listened to the first song, I was like, oh my god, he's back, and I was so excited to listen to this album. So excited.
Good.
How did you feel going into the album?
Well, I knew he was back. Like when they announced it was coming back, I knew. Like so I'd known for ages and been kind of anticipating it. And I actually They announced a concert in Manchester that's happening in June this year.
Yeah.
And I was very like, do I burn myself a second time with them? But the fact that I was like, but John Frusciante's back in the band. Like if I see the Chili Peppers, I want to see them with him in the band. So I've got tickets to see them in June.
Oh, amazing! Oh,
I know. Sorry.
Take a little film for me, just a little one. I'll tell you even the song. I'll tell you the song that you have to from this album. No, after. Like I'll tell you after.
All right. Okay. And so I was like quite nervous about the album coming out of the way because I was like, I want it to be good because they're gonna probably play quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
And the tickets for this gig, this might be the most money I've spent on gig. This was maybe the most expensive gig of like £90, 90 English pounds for a ticket to see them.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
I know. I'm an idiot. So and then before the album came out, they released a few singles, and the first single they put out was Black Summer, and that song is a grower. The first time I listened to it, I was not sure, but now I really, really like it. And he's been made fun of for doing a sort of sea shanty. Like his vocals on that song are unlike anything. Like Anthony Kiedis' vocals on Black Summer, they're not like anything else he's ever done, and it does sound a bit like a kind of weird sea shanty. But I like it when he does weird things, and I like that. And then they released, what was the second single? Poster Child, which was, I listened to that, and the first time I heard it, I was like, what is this? What on earth are they doing? And I think that's the funkiest they've sounded in a very long time.
Yeah, that Poster, but the second time I listened to Poster Child, I was like, Poster Child. I was like, straight away, it was like so funky and so like, yeah, come on, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, it's like their version of We Didn't Start the Fire or something, isn't it? Like, it's just an endless parade of pop culture references.
Yeah.
It's something else. And then Not the One is the third single, which is like a nice little ballad. So those are the three songs I'd heard before the album came out. And I put the album on and was like, was pretty much hooked from the second. Like the first, I was like, Black Summer, I've heard this. And then I was like, where are we going afterwards? And then Here Ever After is such a classic Chili Peppers song with a great chorus. And yeah, other than still not really understanding what an aquatic mouth dance is, I was pretty hooked on it.
No, me neither.
I read earlier that it's... Oh, go on.
I think they've gone a little bit weird with the lyrics in this album.
I mean, they've always been pretty weird.
Yeah. But I feel like I can hear them more now. Just like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. They're mad. Apparently, it might be singing. An aquatic mouth dance might be singing, but who knows? So apparently, so in a minute we're going to go through our top 5 tracks on the album.
Our top 5. Are we doing a top 5? You didn't tell me that.
I thought we were. Oh, sorry. What did you have?
I just like things that I liked about him. I thought we were going to just talk about songs we liked, but we can go top 5 if you want.
Well, only if you can do it. But while you're thinking about that, just I was reading some of the interviews and stuff about the making of this album, and apparently they started recording together just as COVID hit. So not long into recording, they all had to go home and weren't able to record anymore. But it did mean they were able to write songs, and when they were finally able to reconvene in the recording studio, they had over 100 song ideas between them. 17 of which, of course, are on this album, and supposedly they've been saying in interviews that the follow-up will be coming sooner than you would think, and they've got plans for what John Frusciante has described as a more relaxed and chilled-out album to follow, which surprises me, because I found this album overall to be fairly chilled compared to, some of the heavier, like Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which is all kind of funk, hip hop, rap, rock stuff. This is much more in your By the Way kind of vein. But yeah, so any other thoughts on the album, or are we going to start talking about some of the songs we like?
I think the only criticism I have is probably that sometimes I find now Anthony Kiedis's voice slightly annoying.
Wow. I love his voice. I
love his no.
I don't know what it is about it that I really like. I don't like his hair.
I don't know, because when sometimes with I like, oh, just chill out, but I don't know. Yeah.
No, I like the weird, like, you've got the really sort of clean melodic choruses and then the sort of rapped lyric. Yeah, no, I like it, but he needs to get rid of his mustache and bowl cut. I don't know what he's doing with that. Maybe
I managed to do a top 5.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so. Just because I've listened to the album like a few times, but it's so long that it takes time to kind of like listen to it and But
I know, definitely. This is definitely like a proto top 5, I'd say, like where we are at the moment, because
where we are at the moment, yeah. But I think they've gone back to being their funky selves, and I think they've allowed John Frusciante to have a big stamp on it. And I love the message behind it. Flea, I read something that Flea was talking about, putting your differences aside and having a little bit of humility and becoming friends again. And I feel like this has got a nice vibe like that to it. Stop wasting time and hating and carry on, just become friends again. And I feel like this album does that, and I like it.
For sure. Cool. Okay, well, do you want to start with a track that you like?
My number 5 is probably track number 5, Poster Child.
Which sounds a little bit like this. There we go. Very funky.
It's funky. It's wonderful. It's full of pop culture references that I don't know if they make sense. It's definitely their old style. It reminds me of Can't Stop and By the Way. It's like their...
Yeah, it's a bit like Can't Stop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's definitely their sound, and I like it. And it's super funky. And I don't know, I really like Poster Child. I think is really good.
Yeah, I the first time I heard, because what the things I really like in Red Hot Chili Peppers are sort of the soaring choruses, which there's less of that in this song, which turned me off it at first. But the more I've listened to it, the more it just has this groove that sucks you in. Yeah. And once you've learned it and you know it, you can kind of just, it sounds really pretentious, but you can kind of just jam to it. And the lyrics are so dense, and I don't know if they're dense in a way where it's clever, or they're dense just because he's just rhymed a load of things together. Because it starts with Melly Mel and Richard Hell were dancing at the Taco Bell when someone heard a rebel yell. I think it was an infidel. Adam Ant and Robert Plant were centres of a sycophant, enlisted by Ulysses Grant to record at the record plant. Islamabad is on the nod, Havana at the Riot Squad, and if you want to be a mod, you'll have to meet me at the quad. You got the best of my loco, I'll take the rest. It's just... Yeah, it's dense. I'm scrolling through the lyrics, and just the amount of lyrics in this song for a 5-minute long song is mad. But I love it. So good choice for your number 5 pick. Do you want my number 5?
Yes, please.
My number 5 is the first one I heard that's fresh for the album that's not a single, which is track 2, Here Ever After. Which might just because I've heard it a lot, because I like to listen to albums in order, but I really like this song after a few listens. It sounds a bit like this. starts driving, pushing. And then, if I skip ahead slightly,
Which one is this one?
second track. Yeah, big fan of that song. Just because again, it reminds me of, say, something off Californication, where it's just got this driving rhythm and then this soaring chorus, and it's the exact sound that I want to hear from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I love that track.
Yeah.
Track 2, Here Ever After. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is track number 1, Black Summer.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear so quickly that
it's him.
But then it starts really mellow, but it builds and builds.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Like, no.
Yeah.
I was just so happy. You know what? I'm so glad I don't read sometimes. Maybe I miss out on things, but I was driving and when that track came on, I was not excited to listen to this album. And when that track came on, I was like, no. And I was so happy. It made me so happy that he's back. The sound is back. I'm enjoying this album. And it's just, John Frusciante's guitar is back. And it feels good.
Yeah. Yep.
It feels really good. And
the Archer's on the run.
It's just a really good start, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
What's your number
good
4?
choice. Black Summer's good. My number 4 is your number 5.
Oh, Poster Child.
Poster Child. Like I said, I didn't like it when I first heard it. I thought it was silly. And then, like with a lot of things that you think are silly at first with Red Hot Chili Peppers, they just beat you down into submission and you end up with it. So, yeah.
Like me.
Yeah. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is the last song in the album, number 17, and is the song, the ballad, Tangelo.
Tangelo sounds a bit like this.
When I'm with you, I feel like myself, no stranger, the shadow of somebody else. When I feel you, home of a life, a long never ending, and the smell of your hello, I know.
A very lovely little ballad.
I just feel like they're so funky and they can be really silly and like funky. We're gonna blah, blah, blah. But then their ballads are amazing. Like when Road Trippin', for example, I love that song, and it's just you know, even the video is just like Flea, John Frusciante, and Anthony, just those three just like riffing, and I think they're so versatile, and I think that's why you can't hate Red Hot Chili Peppers, because they've been going on for years. They're amazing, and they do whatever they want to do.
That is yeah, and they want to end their hour and 20-minute long, or however long it is, album with a little acoustic ballad. It's lovely. Yeah, no, that's fair. What is my number 3? My number 3 is Bastards of Light.
Yes, good track.
Yes, thank you. Sounds a bit like this.
Or sounds exactly like that. Sorry.
Anything at all. Anything
love it. That is going to grow on me a lot, I think. I think that's going to end up being one of my favourite songs of theirs, just generally.
Nice.
That's one of the songs where they are all working together, and it just produces a really good song. I'm not as good at talking about music as I am as talking about films, I think, and not that I'm good at talking about films.
Well, you're better at talking at anything than I'm talking about anything. I'm rubbish at everything.
Not true. Disagree. Yeah, no, but I think that song's great, and I love the chorus, I love the way it builds, and I'm excited to listen to it more. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is one of the heavier tracks on the album and quite rocky, like they left a little bit the funk away, and is These Are the Ways.
That's my number 2 as well.
No, I love that song.
Yeah.
And
Let's
this
hear
is
a little bit of it. And you're right,
yeah.
It's almost metal, isn't it, this song? I think.
Yeah. And it's
sounds a bit like this.
But it comes like it's 8th in the track. It's kind of in the middle, and it kind of like shifts a little bit the gears of the album.
Definitely.
Make me a fist. Purple Mountain Road that I can't miss. Have we all had enough? Have we all had These are the ways when you come from America. The sights, the sounds, the smells.
I love that bit.
These are the ways when you come from America. I don't wanna die and she's gonna take good care of you.
Amazing. Yeah, I love that song.
So good.
That song's growing on me a lot, and like initially I was a bit disappointed. Like the first half of this album, you're like, it's very mellow, it's very chill, it's good. But I love that there's at least one really heavy rock song on this album, and These Are the Ways is it. And they quite cleverly put it out as a single just before the album came out, because I think they knew it was a good one. So yeah, I love it. Yeah. Right. What's your number 1? What's your favourite song on this album so far?
My number 1 is because I am basic and I love John Frusciante and I love his voice. And so every time I listen to a song, I'm happy. And my number 1 is track 16, The Heavy Wing. John sings the chorus. So let's listen to the chorus. Let's listen to the chorus.
Let's listen to the chorus once you tell me the name of the song.
Sorry, I said The Heavy Wing.
I know, but you cut out, so you cut out at the moment that you said the name of it, and I was so confused.
The Heavy Wing.
The Heavy Wing. Okay, The Heavy Wing sounds a little bit like this. Oh, that's weird.
What?
All of these tracks have got the lyrics on Spotify, except for this one. Because I was able to scroll through and easily find the choruses, but for this one it's a bit tricky. But let's have a little guess. Not there.
No, that was it.
Sorry.
No, go back. I love his voice. Makes you so happy.
That is great. That is such a good song. I regret not putting that on my top 5 now. I think I've not listened to the end of this album enough. Yeah, that song is amazing.
I'm basic. Choice. Like if if John Frusciante is involved, I'm like, yes, that's my song.
I'm even more basic than you because my number one is Black Summer, which we've already talked about.
You're basic.
I know, but that was just hearing them again as a full band again.
You're
was
right.
so exciting,
Yeah.
and like that song has grown on me so much, and I've just listened to it over and over again recently. And I just love, like, my brother, who is actually in the flat right now and probably
Hi,
can hear
brother!
me, thinks that he can't hear you because you're in headphones,
Oh.
but he does not like the sea shanty vocals in this song, but they've really grown on me. And I'm a big fan of that whole, like, the archers on the run. And have you seen the music video for Black Summer?
No.
Can we do a little before we break up? Let's do a little MyTube and look at the music video for this song because it is the cheapest music video of all time. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so Anthony is walking somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, his hair is just terrible. Cut your hair. So I think there's a green screen behind him. And
Definitely.
He's dancing?
No, I think he's in sync, is he? You sure? But look at his dancing. I love it.
Yeah. He's always been good with his body, though.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah. On the dark side of the moon. Hi, Flea. Flea has got a poncho.
Moon.
And Flea has looked the same since he started Red Hot Chili Peppers. He has never changed.
But who's this?
John! Hi, John. Welcome back.
But look, they've just put them in front of a green screen and then put a screensaver on behind it.
But I think they're the only band that can do this. I'm appreciating this video. Because Red Hot Chili Peppers, that's why they're amazing. They can do anything. I don't mind. If this would have been any other band, I'd be like, oh, come on. But it's them. I think, in my opinion.
I love that little archery thing he does for that line. It's so silly.
And like, John is by some icebergs.
His shirt's come off.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Flea is on Anthony. Da, da, da. And he's dancing like he does. What's the drummer called?
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, he is exactly like Will Ferrell. But what's his name?
Chad Smith.
Yeah, Chad Smith. It looks just like... Just I can't believe two people can look so similar. And now they're on... Oh, this video is so cheesy and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit silly, isn't it? They could do better.
It
but
is.
they don't want to do better. They're okay with this.
I'll let it slide.
How you see John Frusciante now and his addiction has completely changed his face. Like, he's not even the same person as he was when he started Red Hot Chili Peppers. Have you ever seen him that young?
I don't think I have.
He's like a different human. He's amazing. I was obsessed with him. I watched lots of stuff about him. But yeah.
Riding on a headless horse to make the trip.
I mean, he's about to turn 60, so to be fair to him...
Who?
Kiedis, Anthony Kiedis.
Is he? Oh my god,
Yeah.
he's looking great. Oh. I'm so jealous you're going to see them now that I'm enjoying this album. They have a different energy, haven't they? Like, this is energy that we need from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Do you remember a few years ago I showed you... Not a few years ago. At some point I showed you when they were at the Grammys a couple of years ago and they played with Post Malone.
Yeah.
And it just had no energy and it just felt like they were there for the sake of it. This is so much better.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see them.
Yeah. It's amazing. Thank you. I'm glad you made me listen to it. I wasn't going to. And I'm in love again with them. I think this is my love. You know, I'm in love and then I'll fall in love with them when John leaves again.
Yeah, I hope they get a few more albums under their belt before he leaves again. I'd love him to stay around.
The only thing that this album made me feel, last thing, and I'm going to go a little bit sad, it's just recently the drummer of Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins, passed away. And when it happened, I was like, oh, that's sad. And I don't know, listening to this album and thinking about it, more the time passes, the more I'm like, I'm so upset about it. I was listening to this album, I was like, but Taylor Hawkins will never be able to do another album again with Foo Fighters. Mm-hmm. And be another great album. You know, Red Hot Chili Peppers have had like ups and downs, and you know, Foo Fighters have had the same. And Taylor Hawkins will never experience another real up.
Yeah. It is, yeah, and me and you have seen Foo Fighters together as well, haven't we? Hmm? And I think we've both seen Foo Fighters together. Yeah,
and I'm so glad we did, because they were live. Foo Fighters were like amazing.
But they were amazing live. And one thing that always came through, because I saw them live, I've seen them live 3 or 4 times, is that those two men are best friends, Taylor Hawkins and Dave Grohl, and it is really gutting and sad that that's happened, that he's passed away. Yeah. And I can't imagine how difficult it is for those people close to him. Yeah, rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, rest in peace. We haven't spoken about it until now, but I didn't feel it was real until like the past couple of days. I was like, I can't believe it's real.
Because it happened overnight in South America, so I woke up and had the notification on my phone, and it just, sometimes you look at something like, am I still asleep? That can't say what it says. That can't be right.
And I thought it was horrible. A joke. Like, I not a joke. You know, this like fake news. I just thought it was fake news. I was like, well, it's not possible. Yeah. That's not going to happen. No. And then the more time passes, the more I'm like, oh, it has happened. And I'm getting sadder. And it's so... Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've got 3 other tracks that I really enjoyed that weren't in my top 5, and they are Not the One, the single.
Same. I really like that.
The Great Apes.
I find it's an interesting track. I can say that.
It's weird, but I really like the line, all my love and half my kisses, superstar don't do the dishes, is a pretty good lyric. And yeah, just the chorus of I just want the great apes to be free. I like that song. And then I haven't listened to it loads, but I saw it highlighted as one of the best tracks on the album on some website, and it is good, is the song Veronica.
I quite like Veronica, actually.
Yeah, so that's growing on me. I like Veronica. Have you got any others that you just want to quickly highlight?
I quite like 11, Bastards of Light.
Yeah, well, that was on my top 5. We talked about that.
Yeah, number 15, Let Them Cry. I liked it because... number 15, Let Them Cry, I thought it was like, it kind of became funky again, like gone back to kind of like a nice little funk, which I liked.
Yeah.
The one that I found the least enjoyable, which maybe I'll ask you quickly, is number 7, She's a Lover. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Maroon 5 and Sugar Ray, kind of like a California beach vibe, which doesn't really fit in this album, but kind of fits. It's like really strange.
When the funk gets too smooth.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit like, okay. Yeah. So
let me have a quick listen to that one.
Yeah, She's a Lover, number 7.
I quite like the start, but then when it kicks into that ba 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 doo da da da.
But go to the pre-chorus and chorus. So now it's funky, yeah? Yeah, so it's quite nice. And then it goes into Maroon 5. Me, love me. No?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Oh, also, so he says, "Wake up and hug me. I will be a torrid beast." And for every time until now, looking at the lyrics, every time I listen to this song, I'm like, is he saying "I will be a Tory beast"?
I thought the same. A Tory beast.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's like, why is he going to be a Tory? Why is he singing about Tories? Does he know what a Tory is, and why does he want to be one?
Nobody wants to be a Tory.
No, yeah, that "wake up and squeeze me." It is very Maroon 5.
Yeah,
it's a bit
and
cheap,
I just
cheap,
had
too
no
much cheese.
place in this album, but I was like, if you want to go Maroon 5, I'll allow it this time.
Yeah, just only this one time. God, Adam Levine wishes he could be as good as Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, quick rating out of 5.
I would say, I don't know. It got me excited again about this band and the possibilities. I'm going to give them a 4.5.
Wow, a 4.5. I'm going to follow the theme of the album. Unlimited Love, 5 out of 5.
Yeah, you're good. You're better than me.
That's not true.
Like Pitchfork gave them a really bad, 6.2.
Yeah, but Pitchfork,
Yeah, no,
their scores are more reflective of where they think popular culture is than what they actually think of music. The Goons, that's right, Pitchfork, I'm coming for you, I'm calling you a goon. Yeah, but I think generally it's been fairly well received, this album. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. And in fact, talking to you about it now has made me like it more.
Yeah,
and some of the
same.
tracks you've highlighted, like the Heavy Wing in particular, is making me realise that this might be a bit of a classic Chip Peppers album, which is something we've not had since. Like, I don't think Stadium Arcadium even is one of their best efforts. You know, it's like By the Way in 2002 might be the last time that they've like, it might be a solid 20 years since they've put out something I like as much as this.
Same.
So well done. Well done.
Well done, Chili Peppers.
Pepper Boys. And yeah, good. Right. That's been Unlimited Love. Have you got a recommendation from your culture catch up this week that people should check out?
I would definitely listen to Ghum, Ghum, band from London.
Go for it, Ghum. And I'd say people should check out Boiling Point, a fantastic film. Big recommend on that one. And it's the big 70 next week.
Yeah, episode 70.
Episode 70, which leaves us just 50 episodes shy of the big 120, which is exciting. So that's going to be, we're going to go into space, aren't we?
Woohoo!
Yeah. We're going to do top 5 Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's 11 to pick from. You've got episode 1. Then you've got episode 2. Episode 3 comes after that. Then episode 4. Then it gets into episode 5. After that, there's episode 6. Then you've got 7. Episode 7. Followed by episode 8. And then episode 9. And after episode 9, takes a hard left and you got Rogue One. And then finally, well, not finally, but then the last one I've not mentioned is Solo, a Star Wars story. Solo. So from those 11 movies, we'll each be picking our favourite 5. Isn't that exciting? To celebrate the release of Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which is a very good video game, and the imminent release of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which I am exceptionally excited about.
Nice.
Yeah. So join us for that next week, and please do join the conversation on social media. We're most active on Instagram, and you can find links to our Instagram page along with all our other social media pages, and our email address are in the show notes for this and every episode, along with links to what we've discussed in Culture Catch Up and MyTube. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us this week. It's been a joy to talk about Unlimited Love. We tried it a bit differently this week. Instead of going track by track, we had more free-form discussion. which I think has worked better.
Yeah.
But if you have any feedback on because our music episodes, I think we're slightly less confident on than our film episodes. So if you have any feedback, we'd really appreciate it. We'd also appreciate a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and anywhere else that you can review podcasts, and helping us get the word out there and get some more listeners would be appreciated. And see you soon. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.